Okay, so number 1 says, what is 3/8 as a decimal? I'm gonna rewrite my fraction as a division problem and put the numerator inside of the box, inside of the division box. Now, I know instinctively that 8 cannot go into 3, so I'm gonna add a decimal and 2 zeros. I might have to add more zeros, but I'm gonna start off with 2 just for now. I'm gonna go through and do regular long division. So I'm gonna divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then this is repeat. Go all the way back to this top. So if you don't know your 8 multiples by heart, you might want to write them down. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56. I'm gonna stop there because I need to know how many groups of 8 can I make out of 30, since I made this into technically 300 now. Sorry, 300. How many groups of 8 can I get out of 30? I see 1 group here, I see 2 groups here. 3 groups fit, but 4 groups is too much. I'm not trying to make 32, I'm only trying to make 30, so I can only make 3 groups. I'm gonna put my 3 at the top. With the last number that I was just working with, which is 3, I'm gonna multiply it by this 8, and I'm gonna get 24. I divide it, and I multiply it. Now it's time to subtract. With the last number that I was working with, which was 24, I'm gonna subtract 30 and 24, and I'm gonna get 6. Now I subtracted, I'm gonna bring down my final 0. Sorry, this should be my final 0, but I'm gonna have to add another one. How many groups of 8 can I make from 60? Well, go back to my multiples over here. Let's see, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64 is the next multiple, so yes, I can only make 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 groups. With this last 7 number, I'm gonna multiply times 8, and I'm gonna get 56. With the last number that I used, which was 56, I'm gonna subtract it from 60, and I'm gonna get 4 again. And I'm gonna add another 0 and bring that down because I'm still not finished. I don't wanna have a remainder. I'm trying to get an even number that can fit into 8 groups. So I'm gonna bring down my last 0, and I see over here that 40 does make exact groups of 8. 5 groups of 8 can be made out of 40. With this 5, I'm gonna multiply it by 8 and get 40 so that my final remainder is 0. I didn't touch the decimal at the beginning because I want you all to ignore it and just bring it up at the end. So look through the multiple choice answers and find one that says either 0.375 or just 0.375. We're just doing division. Moving on to number 2. How many groups of 8 can I make out of 5? How many groups of 8 can I make out of 5? None. So I'm going to change it to 500 and add more zeros as I go on. I'm going to use these 8 multiples up here because I already wrote them down. How many groups of 8 can I make out of 50? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After that, it's too many. 6 times 8 is 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. Bring down my 0. I can make 2 groups, and that's going to give me 16. I'm going to add another 0, and I'm going to get 40 again. How many groups of 8 can I make out of 40? 5. Find the answer in the multiple choice options that says either 0.625 or 0.625. Number 3. How many groups of 25 can I make out of 8? None. So I'm going to add 2 zeros like I've been doing before. I'm going to write a couple of my 25 multiples out on the side just in case I need them. How many times can I make how many groups of 25, can I make out of 80? If I make out of 80, I'm skipping 8 because 25 doesn't go into 8. I'm going straight over to 80. I see 75 and then it jumps up to 100. So I can only make 3 groups. 3 times 25 is 75. That's going to give me 5. And I'm going to bring down my 0. Oh, I have just enough zeros actually. I don't need to bring down any more because I know that I can make 2 groups of 25 to get 50. And that's even. 2 times 25 is 50. Now the final thing left to do is just bring my decimal up. So 8 over 25 as a decimal is 0.32 or just 32. 2 more left. 7 over 20 as a decimal. How many groups of 20 can I get out of basically 700? Because I'm always going to add these zeros in this decimal. I don't need to write my 20s out. I'm just going to cheat and write my 2s out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 2, 3. 3 groups. That gives me 60. Bring this 0 down, and that gives me 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm finished because 5 times 20 is 100, which leaves me with 0. Bring up my decimal. 0.35 is my final answer. And finally, 6 over 8 as a decimal. How many groups of 8 can I make out of 600? I have my 8s from all the way up here, but I'm going to rewrite them. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. How many groups of 8 can I make out of 60? 7. 7 times 8 is going to give me 56. 60 minus 56 is 4. Bring down my 0, and I know that I have 5 groups that I can make of 8 out of 40. So once I bring up my decimal, my final answer is going to be 0.75. These are all on your worksheet. All right, I'm on number 2 that says, on the page that says practice, and it says, Mr. Spells says that 1/6 as a decimal is 0.66. Explain if he's correct, yes or no, and why not. So I'm going to check his work by doing division. How many groups of 6 can I make out of 1 or 100? Because I'm going to always cheat and add my decimal and my 2 zeros until I figure out a number that goes evenly into 6. That 6 goes into evenly, sorry. So I'm going to write out my 6 multiples if I don't know them by heart. Let's say I stop at 42. How many groups of 6 can I make out of 1? None. There's an imaginary 0 here. How many groups of 6 can I make out of 10? 1, because 2 groups is 12, which is too many. So 1 times 6 gives me 6. I'm going to subtract, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat. I divided, I multiplied, now I'm going to subtract, and I get 4. Check that step off. Bring down my 0, and I get, how many groups of 6 can I make out of 40? 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 groups. 6 times 6 is 36, and I get 4 again. I'm going to add another 0 to see if I can get an even amount of groups. How many groups of 6 can I make out of 40? I just did that up here. It gives me 6. 40 minus 36. I'm just going to jump up here. It's going to keep giving me 4. I'm going to keep adding zeros and getting 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Let me pull my decimal up. So the answer that I got is 0.166666. The answer that Mr. Spells got is 0.66. So is he correct? No. And the way that you write this repeating decimal is 0.166 repeating. This little sign means repeating. So no, Mr. Spells is not right because something went wrong in his division. We don't know what it was, but he assumed that he could make 6 groups out of 10, and that's not correct. Maybe he jumped all the way to 100. I'm not sure. But he is not right. And the last one says, write 3/12 as a decimal. My numerator always goes inside the box. I'm going to add my 2 zeros just to see if that's enough. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. Let's see if that's enough. How many groups of 12 can I make out of 30? Only 2. At 36, I went over. 30 minus 24, because 12 times 2 is 24, gives me 6. Bring down my 0, that leaves me with 60. 60 is on my list of multiples under 12. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. 5 times 12 is 60, and I am done. Oh, no, I'm not. Bring up my decimal. Now I'm finished. My answer is 0.25. 3 over 12 as a decimal is 0.25.